Welcome to our countdown of the 8 most incredible airplane landings ever caught on camera. Buckle up, because these landings will leave you on the edge of your seat. We're talking about engine failures, wind shears, and emergency landings. The moments when the margin for error shrinks to the size of a postage stamp and the lives of hundreds hang in the balance. So sit tight, because we're about to dive into the wild world of aviation, where the stakes are high, the pressure is on, and the landings are nothing short of miraculous. Now, some of you might not be old enough to remember Taca Airport, but trust me, this place was the stuff of legend. See, landing in Hong Kong wasn't just about putting the plane down, it was about navigating a concrete jungle with mountains on one side and skyscrapers on the other. Pilots called it the checkerboard approach because they had to weave their way through a maze of buildings, making a sharp 47-degree turn just before touchdown. You ever tried parallel parking a bus? Imagine doing that in a jumbo jet with a $100 million view and a few hundred passengers praying in the back. The wind, let me tell you, was a whole other beast. Crosswinds were so notorious that pilots would sometimes find themselves crabbing sideways, fighting to keep the wings level. It was like trying to land on a tightrope during a hurricane. And the buildings? Don't even get me started on the buildings. They were so close you could practically see the whites of the residents' eyes. But here's the thing about Taca. It was a test of skill, nerve, and maybe a little bit of luck. And for the pilots who flew it, landing there wasn't just a job, it was a badge of honor. January 15, 2009. U.S. Airways Flight 1549, an Airbus A320, takes off from LaGuardia Airport in New York City. Less than 2 minutes into the flight, the unthinkable happens. A flock of Canada geese collides with the plane, taking out both engines. At the controls is Captain Sully Sullenberger, a former fighter pilot with ice water in his veins. With no thrust and rapidly losing altitude, Sully's options are dwindling faster than a gas tank in a demolition derby. He could try to make it back to LaGuardia, but the odds are stacked against him. He could aim for Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, but again, time and altitude are not on his side. Then, Sully makes a decision that will forever cement his place in aviation lore. He's going to land the plane on the Hudson River. With the skill and precision of a surgeon, Sully guides the crippled plane onto the frigid waters of the Hudson. The impact is surprisingly controlled, and all 155 souls on board survive. The miracle on the Hudson is a testament to the power of human skill, courage, and a little bit of divine intervention. It's a reminder that even in the face of disaster, hope can emerge from the most unexpected places. July 23, 1983. Air Canada Flight 143, a Boeing 767, is cruising at 41,000 feet, en route from Montreal to Edmonton. On board, 69 passengers and crew are settling in for a routine flight. Due to a miscalculation involving a new fuel measurement system, the plane was not fueled properly. In layman's terms, they were flying on fumes. As the 767 soars over Red Lake, Ontario, the unthinkable happens. The engines sputter and die. Silence descends upon the cabin as the reality of the situation sets in. They are now flying a 132-ton glider. At the controls are Captain Robert Pearson and First Officer Maurice Quintal. Their best bet? A closed Air Force base in Gimli, Manitoba, which had been converted into a racetrack. Now, landing a glider is no easy feat, especially when that glider is a Boeing 767. They managed to line up the aircraft with the runway, but there's a problem. The runway they're aiming for is now being used for go-kart racing. With no other options, Pearson executes a daring maneuver, touching down on the runway just beyond the finish line, narrowly avoiding a group of startled go-karters. The Gimli Glider is a testament to the power of human ingenuity, teamwork, and a healthy dose of luck. January 17, 2008, British Airways Flight 38, a Boeing 777 carrying 152 souls, is on final approach to Heathrow Airport in London. The weather is lousy, a frigid mix of rain and snow, but nothing out of the ordinary for a British winter. As the plane descends through 2,000 feet, disaster strikes. Both engines flame out in quick succession. The culprit? Ice crystals forming in the fuel lines, starving the engines of precious fuel. At the controls is Captain Peter Burkill, a veteran pilot with nerves of steel. With no power and only seconds to react, Burkill and his crew are faced with a life-or-death situation. Inside the cockpit, alarms blare as the plane rapidly loses altitude. But amidst the chaos, Captain Burkill remains calm and collected. The 777 slams into the ground just short of the runway, its landing gear collapsing under the immense force. Miraculously, despite the severity of the impact, there are no fatalities. The Heathrow close call is a testament to the skill of Captain Burkill and his crew, and a reminder that sometimes, even in the face of disaster, we are granted a second chance. November 4, 2010, Qantas Flight 32, an Airbus A380, the world's largest passenger airliner, departs Singapore for Sydney, carrying 440 passengers and 29 crew members. Minutes after takeoff, the unthinkable happens. One of the A380's 4 engines explodes, sending shrapnel ripping through the wing and fuselage. The blast is so powerful that debris rains down on the Indonesian island of Batam below. Inside the cockpit, alarms blare like a siren's wail. Captain Richard de Crespigny, a pilot with over 20,000 hours of flying experience, takes command. He and his crew are faced with a nightmare scenario, a crippled Super Jumbo with significant damage and multiple system failures. Fuel is leaking, hydraulics are failing, and the A380 is struggling to stay airborne. But Captain de Crespigny and his crew are not giving up. After 2 agonizing hours in the air, Captain de Crespigny manages to guide the wounded A380 back to Singapore for an emergency landing. The landing is rough, but the plane holds together, and all 469 souls on board survive. The successful landing of Qantas Flight 32 is a testament to the skill and courage of the flight crew, and a testament to the resilience of the A380. May 24, 1988. Taca Flight 110, a Boeing 737, is en route from Belize City to New Orleans with 45 souls on board. The weather is atrocious, a raging thunderstorm with torrential rain and violent updrafts. As the 737 descends through 16,500 feet, the unthinkable happens. Both engines flame out, starved of fuel by the intense precipitation. The plane becomes a giant glider, falling from the sky at an alarming rate. In the cockpit, Captain Carlos Dardano and First Officer Dionisio Lopez spring into action. They know they have to find a place to land, and fast. With nerves of steel, and a whole lot of luck, Captain Dardano spots a narrow strip of grass alongside a drainage canal. It's not much, but it's their only shot. Dardano expertly maneuvers the powerless 737 towards the levee, his eyes glued to the rapidly approaching ground. The landing is rough, the plane bouncing once before coming to a stop just feet from the water. Amazingly, despite the harrowing circumstances, there are no fatalities. The successful dead-stick landing of Taca Flight 110 is a testament to the skill and courage of the flight crew. September 14, 1993. Lufthansa Flight 2904, an Airbus A320, is on approach to Warsaw, Poland, carrying 70 souls. The weather is abysmal, a powerful thunderstorm lashing the airport with heavy rain and gusty winds. As the A320 descends through the storm clouds, the pilots are battling a treacherous crosswind. The pilots attempt to compensate for the shifting winds, but it's too late. The A320 touches down on the rain-slicked runway with excessive speed and a dangerous sideways drift. The plane veers off the runway, its left wing clipping a tree and shearing off part of the landing gear. The A320 careens across the grassy infield, finally coming to rest in a cloud of dust and debris. Tragically, the impact and subsequent fire claimed the lives of 2 passengers. However, thanks to the swift actions of the crew and first responders, 68 souls survived the harrowing ordeal. The Warsaw runway overrun serves as a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of aviation, and the importance of constant vigilance in the face of challenging weather conditions. August 2, 2005. Air France Flight 358, an Airbus A340 is on approach to Toronto Pearson International Airport, carrying 309 souls. A severe thunderstorm is raging over the airport, unleashing torrential rain and lightning strikes. As the A340 descends through the tempestuous skies, visibility is near zero. The A340 touches down hard and late, much farther down the rain-slicked runway than intended. The plane hydroplanes, its tires losing contact with the asphalt. Despite the pilot's best efforts to regain control, the A340 skids off the runway, plunging into a ravine at the end of the runway. The impact is severe, the plane breaking into 3 sections as it crashes through the undergrowth. Miraculously, despite the fiery crash and the chaotic evacuation, all 309 passengers and crew members survive. The Toronto fiery escape stands as a testament to the importance of aircraft design, crew training, and the bravery of first responders. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible aviation stories. Safe travels. You know, looking back at these stories, it's easy to focus on the danger, the fear, the sheer terror of those moments when things go wrong at 30,000 feet. But I think it's important to remember the other side of the coin. The skill, the courage, the unwavering dedication of the pilots and crew who face those challenges head-on. So next time you're on a plane, take a moment to appreciate the men and women who are working tirelessly to get you there safely.